Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Talks with TJ podcast. I'm your host, TJ. I hope that everyone has had a great week so far. You're having a good start to your Friday and good start to the weekend. Cheers to the weekend. So, if this is your first time joining us, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming in and listening. I hope you find some value. If you're coming back and rocking with us, we're on what episode? Well, I don't know. We on the episode. We've been rocking with this for weeks now. If you coming back listening, that means we about family at this point. You're really rocking with me now. So I appreciate you coming back and tuning in and supporting. I really do. Always happy to have repeat listeners and new people coming in. So yeah. So we're gonna get right into it. So last week we was talking about positive affirmations. Talk nice to me. Talk nice to me. So this week we're gonna be talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness is key. And I think all the steps in your journey is important, but I don't know. This could be in the top, maybe three, top five, because and I'm not talking about just forgiveness of other people. I'm talking about forgiveness itself. Like this is something that I'm gonna keep it real with you. I want to keep it real with you all around. All the things that I'm talking about in my journey, I don't want nobody to get this misconception that I just found a way and I'm completely done. I want you to know that I'm still learning and growing and figuring out new things about myself, figuring out new ways to handle different situations that arise in my journey. Like I'm nowhere where I was by far, but I'm nowhere where I want to be. I don't want nobody to think that I just got it all figured out. I don't. I'm gonna keep it real blunt, which I don't. But I'm just, going through, I guess where I come from. So forgiveness is probably the most important part. Like I said, probably maybe in the top three, top five. And I'm gonna keep it real, is something that I'm still learning to deal with. Um, it's a process. It depends on the situation, depends on the person. It just doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. So yeah. So I'm gonna go through the 7 steps that I learned through therapy. And yes, I I'm gonna say I was about to say was, but I am in therapy and I'm not ashamed about it. I ain't ashamed about it. Yeah, I go sit on somebody's couch and talk. Sometimes we need that listening ear, especially an unbiased ear. Somebody to talk to that don't have no feelings or they don't care about your situation. So they're going to give you a very unbiased um I hate to say opinion because I don't think they're supposed to give opinions, but that's the only word I can think of right now is opinion. But yeah. So yeah, I go sit on somebody's couch. I think therapy is good. Probably most of us need it. So anyway, so the 7 steps that I learned through therapy that I still, I guess, in some ways implement today. But this was just the foundation that my therapist gave me to kind of help me because I'm a person that likes. I'm a very structured person, so I like things that come in steps. Like, okay, step one, step two, step three, so I know where I am in the process. That's just how my mind thinks. But yeah, so the 7 steps. So if you want, write them down. Not, re-listen. I don't know. Step one: acknowledge. Acknowledgement. Acknowledge the hurt. I was just talking to a friend, honestly, just yesterday. I mean, I was on the phone with her maybe about a good hour and some change. And I was just listening to her, and I just finally just said to her, I said, girl, you got like, because she was telling me that she's trying to forget the pain. She's trying to forget what happened to her. So she do things to try to forget, so she doesn't have to be in pain, which I get. Trust me, I get completely because I've been there. But I was like, girl, you got to acknowledge the hurt. It's okay to acknowledge that you have been hurt, that somebody did you wrong. That acknowledge it. Okay. It's not gonna make you a bad person because you acknowledge the hurt or whatever the case may be, whatever you feeling like acknowledging it will do to you. Acknowledge who did it, why they did it, the context of the situation. And honestly, this is probably a very big one. How long ago did it happen? Okay. Now, if it's something that happened recently, okay, we get it. You still deep diving in that hurt. It takes a minute to kind of come out of that a little bit, out of that deep end a little bit. I get it. But if it's something that happened like, boy, in your childhood, like, okay, we really got to really assess that because it's why are you holding on to something that's happened in your childhood? And I get that everybody processes things differently. Um, Everybody has different recovery times. Uh, Everybody has, you know, traumas, helped things that I didn't go through that somebody else went through that I couldn't imagine going through. So I trust me when I say I really empathize with that. I do. I do. But acknowledging how long ago it happened is very important because I think that kind of puts you in the frame of mind like, okay, wow, this say if it happened, 20 years ago and it's like it kind of breaks you out of reality. I know it did for me because I had to break it broke me out of my reality when I acknowledged like, oh my God, this happened like 10 years ago. I'm still holding on to this. It kind of breaks you out like, okay, I got to do something because I don't want to keep holding on to it. I'm not saying that, try to bring nobody down for holding on to something they happened in childhood, but it does bring you back into focus a little bit. So step two, consider. Consider how the hurt and the pain affected you. How did that hurt and pain affect you? How did it change you? How did it change the way you think, the way you move, the way you act, etc.? And by doing that, it's going to require you to really re- think about the whole situation in its entirety. You know, hopefully it's going to require you to think about it in a more rational way. I mean, hopefully. I mean, you got to really kind of step out of the box a little bit and really think about it, from try to think about it from like you was on the outside looking in, the whole entirety of the situation. And that thinking is going to lead you up to a decision eventually, which leads into uh step 3. Step 3 is accept. Accept that you cannot change your past, that what has happened has happened. You gotta accept it. It is what it is. That's one of my favorite sayings. It is what it is. you know? It is what it is. I got to accept it for what it is because I cannot go back and change what has happened. But I can change how I look at it now. I can change how it affects me now. I can change my reaction to it now, you know? Accept the pain. Accept that you're angry or hurt towards whoever did this to you. Accept that. I had to accept that when people did me wrong. I had to go back when I was going through my process. I had to go back and accept that. Okay, yeah, these people really did hurt me, and I came to a realization that I didn't want to accept that they hurt me because it made me feel some type of way. Like it made me feel less than that somehow allowed these people to do this to me, and it brought my self esteem. It brought my outlook of myself down a little bit, but I had to accept it. I mean, I didn't want to accept it because like I said, it made me feel a certain type of way about myself. Like how could I allow this to happen to me? How could I allow them to do this to me? How could I have not have seen this? Like when I say I was hard on myself, I really was. I really was hard on myself. Yeah. You got to understand that your accepting of your anger, your hurt towards this person, it won't redeem what they've done to you by no means necessary. If that's um how you feel about it, I know I had a little bit of that feeling like me accepting it might redeem it or um hmm Lord, I don't even know how to put that into words, but it won't redeem what they've done to you. It won't redeem them. Um And I know that sounds crazy to say, and it took me. I'm gonna be real. I'm still wrapping my head around that one. Like I said, I'm still a work in progress. Um, but it took me a long time to really start to wrap my head around that. Like, God, Lord, this is forgiveness. Forgiveness in a sense is not, at least for me. Maybe it'd be easier for other people. It wasn't an easy process because I was trying to hold on to this stuff for dear life. Like you hold on to something so tight, like you ever seen somebody hold on to something so tight it starts hurting them, or the hands start bleeding or something like that. That's how I was holding on to this stuff. Like I ain't letting nobody none of this go. I ain't forgetting none of y'all. That's how I was. So next step, step number what we on? Step 4. Yeah. So we had acknowledge. 1 is acknowledge. 2 consider. 3 accept. So 4 is determine. And this is the very well, yeah. This is an important step because this is going to determine whether or not you're ready to even begin the forgiveness process, honestly. Because this honestly is what kicks off or ends the forgiveness process. You know what I mean? Because you're going to determine if you want to forgive this person or not. And that's okay. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. If you're in a state right now where you don't like, I'm not ready to forgive them, that is okay. Cause I was there too. I was there too. I was like, I ain't ready. I ain't ready to forgive this person yet. I want to hold on a little bit longer. And that's okay. Like I said, it's a process. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time to come out of that deep end. It does. And it depends on how deep and murky and thick them waters are that you in this hurt and this pain that somebody else caused you, or this hurt and this pain that you're holding on for yourself. It depends on how thick and murky them waters are, determine how fast you're gonna come out of it, or if you're ready to come out of it. You might not be able to see your way out of it yet. And that is okay, because I was there. So if you like I ain't ready, hey, that ends it right there. You know what I mean? That's it. You ain't ready. We'll come back and explore it again. Like just keep going. I would say keep going through the first 3 steps. Cause honestly, that's probably thinking back on it, that's probably what I did. Because the first time, if you're not ready to forgive, the first time you acknowledge the hurt, that don't mean you want to fully acknowledge it. The first time you consider all of the context around don't mean that you really fully considered everything, because you're always gonna think of something else. And every time you think about it, it's probably gonna bring different memories or emotions to mind. So it's like I said, it takes time. You're not always going to want to accept it the first time that you're angry or hurt toward this person. You're not always going to want to accept it. This is a very fluid process. It really is. So have some grace on yourself. Have some grace on yourself. You can go back through these first 3 steps. If you're not ready to forgive, you can go back through these first 3 steps as many times as you want until you are out a little bit out of them murky waters, till you are a little bit out of that deep end. You more in more shallow water. You can see your way through. I know I talk in metaphors a lot, but hopefully y'all get me. Yeah. So if you are ready to forgive, you have gotten to that point where you're ready to forgive, that leads you to step 5, repair. And I say this very lightly, because I'm gonna keep it real with you. And my therapist might not like me saying this, because I didn't always agree with this one, because repair is going back and repairing relationship with whoever wronged you, you know? And the only relationship that I honestly, at that time, that think that I thought that I needed to repair was my relationship with myself. You know, I need to repair the relationship with myself. So that was the most important relationship that I had to repair myself, because I didn't have no good relationship with myself. So I repaired that shit before I even considered repairing any relationship with anybody else. So, but repair, like I said, my therapist might get mad at me for saying this, but like I said, I didn't agree with this one all the time. Not every relationship with the person that wronged you is a relationship that's worth repairing. And that's just my own personal opinion. Like I don't expect nobody to fully agree with me on that. Like I said, that's my own personal opinion, my own personal feelings on that. Because I'm gonna keep it real with you. I did not repair all the relationships of the people that hurt me. I forgave them, but I didn't go back and repair that shit. I'm gonna keep it real. I did not. Because honestly, I once I got to that point where, like, yeah, I wanted to forgive, and I really fully went back through the first um 3 steps that I was telling you about: acknowledge, consider, accept. Like, I had gone back over that plenty of times in my head, and I really thought about the whole context of it and all that stuff, and how I feel, And at that point, I have grown a little bit more in my understanding of myself and my self love of myself and et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, this relationship ain't worth repairing to me. It ain't worth repairing to me. I forgive them, but it ain't worth repairing to me. And but that's just my own personal opinion. So you can repair a relationship if you want, depending on the person. Depending on the person. You know, that's your own personal choice. I think you have to come to some sort of you really have to decipher that for yourself if it's worth repairing, if that person is worth repairing. My own personal opinion. So that brings us to step 6. Step 6 is learn. It's so easy. It sounds so easy, but learn from what you've been through. Learn what forgiveness means to you. All right. And that sounds so simple, but it's important. Like I said, all of them important in its own right, but learn what forgiveness means to you. And when I say that I mean like for me, what forgiveness means to me is because everybody has their own definition, and I know in the Bible it talks about forgive and forget, and you can interpret that in any way that you want to. Um, Forgiveness for me, and I kind of have my own interpretation of forgive and forget. I forgive you of everything that you've done. This is how I interpret forgiveness for me. I forgive you for what you've done to me, how you hurt me, how you wronged me, how you made me angry. And I promise to you, my promise to you is because I forgave you, I will forget by never throwing that back up in your face and making you feel bad about what you've done to me. That's my version of forgive and forget. That is what forgiveness is to me. And I also do that for myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for what I have allowed or what I perceive that I have allowed people to do to me, the hurt that I have allowed people to inflict on me. And my promise to myself is that I will never make myself feel bad about it. I forget, I guess that's my version of forgive and forget when it comes to myself. I won't acknowledge that anymore. If it comes up in my mind, I quickly dismiss it. Like I forgive them. I forgive myself. That's what I say to myself. I forgive myself because I've had moments where it come back up in my mind, especially if that person has just randomly text me or send me an email or reached out to me or something, on social media or something like that. Sometimes it pops back up in my mind and like I forgive them, I forgive myself. So that's my version of forgiveness. I forgive and forget. I won't bring it back up. I'll never bring it back up to make you feel bad about it. I forgive you and I won't bring it back up to make you feel bad about it. All right? And vice versa for myself. So step 7 is well, what the whole conversation is about. Just forgive. Forgive the person, forgive yourself. And in most cases, like I've said before, forgiveness doesn't have to be a verbal like if it's somebody that you're forgiving, you don't have to go and have a whole conversation with them like I forgive you for what you've done, blah 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 blah. Blah. I forgive you. You don't have to have a conversation with them. It can be silent. Forgiveness can be silent. Hell, it can be through your actions. It really can. And I can probably attest to that. It's through my actions because I promise you, I have not had a conversation with many people that I consider had did me wrong. I have not had no conversation about forgiveness. I just forgave silently, and we move on, right? I move on. But like I said, going back to number 6, learning what forgiveness means to me, how I view forgiveness. I forgive and forget. I forgive you what you've done, and I promise that I will forget. I will not bring up anything that you have done to me. I won't bring it up to try to make you feel bad about it. We're moving on. It's in the past. There's nothing we can do about it. So hopefully we've gone through the 7 steps. Hopefully you have found some value in that in uh, forgiveness, and hopefully you can I don't know, you can tweak it for yourself, like this is not set in stone. Like I said, forgiveness is very fluid. It is very fluid. And I don't want you to feel like you have to rush through these steps. Take as much time as you need because especially like I said, if you're in those deep, dark, murky waters of hurt and pain or